So, Dan, we're going to do a little introduction for the podcast, and I'll do your highlights, ask some questions. Not rolling by the bus, but if you got any funny stories, let's hear them. I know you got some funny
Okay.
stories. You play for the Bengals, hell.
No, man. Yeah. Everything's funny when it comes to them.
No, it's not that funny because I tell you what, you guys were kicking the shit out of us when I came to the league in '88, so that shit wasn't funny.
I try to tell people that story. They don't believe me.
Oh, yeah. I can attest to it. I want to welcome everybody to episode 22 of the Offline Podcast. And we want to make sure that you show us some love by hitting that like button. We also want you to subscribe and join our team. And don't forget to hit that alert bell so you know when we got a podcast coming out. And we welcome questions and comments. So give us those questions and we'll make sure we put them out there. So go to the offlinepodcast.com/contact. You can also listen to us on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, and Apple. And those are some places you can listen to. But today is, like I said, it's episode 22 of the Offline Podcast. And we've got a guest that was born in LA, went to Arizona State, was an All-American, was drafted in 1986 by the Cincinnati Bengals. And he was a third-round pick, 78th pick in the draft. He spent 7 years in Cincinnati. He made the 40th anniversary team, and he was a three-time All-Pro, first team, second team, and played for the Raiders for 1 year. So he spent 8 years in the National Football League. And this summer, he's going to be inducted into the College Hall of Fame. I want to welcome to the podcast, David Fulcher. David, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to be here.
We've got one thing that we share is your daughter, right? What? So tell everybody who's her favorite team.
Now, it's funny. So many years ago, her favorite team was the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was because her teacher that was teaching her in her class was a Steeler fan, and that's all she wore outside of the school material. She wore Pittsburgh Steelers stuff.
Don't tell me she switched on us.
So my daughter comes home and, hey, Dad, I want Pittsburgh. I want that black and gold jersey. I want that. And I'm like, okay. Well, as she's gotten older, she don't like the Steelers anymore. So, I'd hate to say that, man, but she likes you. She knows you. She knows all about you and what you represent. But, and for all of us, I mean, we played for teams. We didn't have that choice. They chose us.
Mm-hmm.
But we played for those teams. But I think we're all brothers when it comes to just doing the things that we're doing now. This podcast, just the things that my golf tournament, things that you're involved in. We all are on the same team when it comes to that.
Right. So what's her favorite team now, Dave?
I'm not going to say the Bengals is her favorite team. I think my daughter likes sports. When the Bengals are playing or when football's on, she'll call me and say, Dad, did you see that call? Did you see that hit? Mm-hmm. She's like a commentator when it comes to football. But, I don't know if she has a favorite team. I still think she likes Cincinnati because, that's what we got here in Cincinnati. But, I think she's just a fan of the sport.
Right. But I think, Dave, you raised her right to be a fan of the sport. I mean, that's always your dream, to have your kids be a fan of the sport. And I know she's probably looked your background up and, growing up in that atmosphere. I mean, she's got to be a sports fan. So,
yeah,
God bless her. But I always got a kick at it when she was a Steeler fan, because I know that kind of rubbed you the wrong way.
Well, John, it's like this, man. I think it's just because, we play against, Pittsburgh twice a year, and, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, that hated rivalry or whatnot went on when I was playing. But, the game of football, when you look at it, everybody wants to play the smash mouth football, beat up defense type football. And that's what Pittsburgh brought out. And for me, the playing the game the way I played the game, I've always been questioned, or people say, man, you look good on Pittsburgh's defense. You look good on Pittsburgh's defense. And that's hard to swallow. But when you look at it, you go, wow, that's the kind of football that I played.
Right, exactly.
Cincinnati. So, it's one of those things that, if I was given a job today to play, obviously I
Hmm.
wouldn't play, but to play or to coach, and Pittsburgh came across me and said, "Hey, David, we want you to come coach." I mean, how do you turn that down because you love the game of football? Not the maybe not the team, but
Right.
you love the game of football. So how do you turn that down?
No, no, you don't. But we always give you the ultimate respect because you were in our big man count. And they would always say, if David Fulcher comes up there, hey, take that little linebacker that you got, he's out. We don't care about that. We care about David Fulcher because he's going to run over our back. He's going to run over our back. So we always put you in the big man. I thought that was a lot of respect to you.
Oh, and I would say to stay.
Hmm.
And a lot of people ask, "Well, what does that mean? What does that mean?" I say, "Well, that's that who
Right.
started implementing a bigger safety, bringing him in the box, 5 linebackers per se, making the offensive line have to change their blocking scheme. And if you didn't change the blocking scheme, then it was trouble because it was me and that running back. And
Right. And we don't
nine
want
out of
that guy
ten
on that running
times,
back.
9 out of 10 times, I got there, man. So, even with the linemen, I mean, it was tough because they didn't know if I was coming or dropping in zone. They didn't know if I was blitzing or running off with the back out of the backfield. So it created a problem for the offensive line to, like you said, hey, here comes Fulcher up, but we got to make sure we count that because if we didn't, they're going to get home or he was going to create some kind of problem in the back.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We had the utmost respect for you because we knew that you were going to bring it. So we were like, okay, let's just put a big guy on him and figure it out. But in case you drop, we always had the pizza theory. Let's go find another piece. Okay,
Yeah,
just don't stand there and look around because somebody else is coming.
yeah.
So, and that's what we learned. So, tell me about
Probably say 3 men in my life changed the dynamics of you know me. First is my dad, who was in LA. Was Willie Shaw, was my D coordinator and DB coach at Arizona State, and then Dick LeBeau. When I got to Cincinnati, man, it was here I am coming out of college early. Though my 4 years were up, but my class graduated and I didn't. But I came out early, so the NFL wasn't even touching, guys who were coming out early. So I was like that experiment. And when they drafted me, the league was he's too big to play safety. He can't play safety in the NFL. He can't run with those receivers. And Dick LeBeau had other ideas. He said, "Listen, we're going to bring you at the line of scrimmage. We're going to blitz you. We're going to drop you in the flat. We're going to drop you in coverage. We have. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to build our defense around you."
mm-hmm,
And Dick LeBeau, let me tell you, man, just a guy that just had so much up here in his brain,
right,
so many things that he could do and he could control by defenses. And he just, he was a mild mannered person. He didn't yell at you. He didn't cuss you out. He didn't browbeat you. He didn't beat you up. He just said, "This is how we're going to do it. If you
mm-hmm.
don't do it, could get over here on the sideline and handle this clipboard."
And I'll
And
find somebody else, huh?
oh yeah, he was just a phenomenal teacher.
Mm-hmm,
John, I think, for life, I think what people fail to realize is a lot of us can, if you're an athlete, you could play.
mm-hmm.
If you got any athletic ability in you, you could play.
Right.
But are you coachable?
Yeah,
Are
that's the
you are you
key.
willing to listen
Mm-hmm.
to what we have to say? And the NFL today, man, I think a lot of it, these guys aren't listening because they're so athletic. They can just do so many things. So, but I was that guy, and I think you were the same way because I think you and I are raised in that same mold of just pay attention, listen.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Right.
pay attention, you could be successful in this world. If you don't pay
Mm-hmm.
attention, then I can't help you. And when LeBeau said, "This is what we're going to do," I listened. I mean, 7 years in the league, I listened to that man. The
Right.
fifth year in my league, I made all pro, I'm pro bowler and player of the year in this position. I still listen because it was it was important for me to listen, because as much as knew what I could do, and I got all the accolades of playing, I still wanted to be better. And the
Right.
only way I could be better is listen to what Dick LeBeau had to say and had to offer.
Right. So tell me, when you got drafted by the Bengals, was the Bengals a surprise that they picked you?
It was a surprise because I didn't talk to them much. And remember, I came out, I declared I was going to, I was declared that I was coming out right after our bowl game, the Holiday Bowl in San Diego, and the NFL wasn't ready. So I had to petition to get to the league. So while this petition was going on, everybody's doing combines and workouts and all this. I couldn't do anything because they hadn't accepted me yet. So, I go from 217 to 225, 228, just doing nothing. No workouts. I was lazy. I didn't get out there and do what I was supposed to do. And then 2 days before the draft, they accepted me. And it was okay. So now who's going to call me? Well, I talked to the Giants a little bit, talked to the Raiders, didn't really talk to the Bengals, talked to a few other teams, but then they all came out to Arizona State to work me out. And that's when I saw Dick LeBeau, and he worked me out. My 40 wasn't the best. My box, my shuttle, all that stuff was like a little slower than norm because I sat around for 3 or 4 months, 3 months doing nothing. Maybe going in there and running on the treadmill, maybe doing some basketball, but nothing serious. And when the draft day came around, here I am up first day in the morning. They projected that I could be a first rounder, and that round went by. Nobody called. Second round, I get a phone call from the Giants and the Raiders about, hey, if you're there, we're going to pick you. That went through. Got a phone call going into the third round. It was, I was basically ready to go to sleep. I was tired. I'm like, this is not going to work. What do I do now? I've declared not to go back. And I get a phone call, like maybe the 10th pick. Raiders said, hey, listen, we've got the 23rd pick or 24th pick. If you're there, we're going to take you. No ifs, ands, no buts. I'm thinking, oh, Los Angeles, I'm going back home. Yeah, that'd be cool. And then I get a call from the Bengals saying, hey, we might take you at that position. What do you think? I'm like, dude, I just want to play. And sure enough, that 73rd pick, it was Paul Brown and Sam Weiss. Hey, we're going to pick you. You're going to be on this team. What do you think? I'm like, I just want to play. Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to play. And that is probably as much of a conversation I had with the Bengals before I got drafted.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot there, man. I'm telling you, it wasn't. I worked out for him. I heard that. And then, I think when Mel Kiper and up to the draft always kept saying, this guy can't play safety in the league. He's going to be a linebacker. Somebody's going to give him to play linebacker. And I was thinking, I hope that doesn't happen. Just give me a shot to play the position I love to play. But if I got drafted as a backer, we don't have a choice in that. We just go play. And Cincinnati said, you're going to be our safety. And one other thing that was really funny, John, was how Dick LeBeau had to describe me to Paul Brown. And he used to tell me, he says, because he always called me 33. 33? I told the old guy that when you come in this building, don't look at him. Because he doesn't look like the guy that everybody's expecting to be this guy, but he could actually flat out play. So trust me when I say this. And I remember when I walked into that training facility and I saw Paul Brown, he looked at me like he was shaking his head like, oh my gosh, what did we get into? And I'm thinking, all right, coach, boy, I hope you got something up your sleeve, because the owner of the company, he's not looking at me like he likes me.
Right.
And so it was a marriage that I had to prove that I could play, and LeBeau had a system that was putting me in position to make plays.
I mean, how did what would you say coach's style was? I mean, like you just mentioned that, coach is not a yeller.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got so much up here that all you got to do is just listen to the man.
That's it.
And you're going to be successful.
That was it.
He'll tell you, it's like, okay, he was always building you up. I mean, it's so easy. Like I see these coaches, they're tearing players down.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that's what you need to build them up.
Yeah.
You need to build them up because, that fine line between that confidence is about like this. And if that's gone, dude, it's over. That guy
No,
goes in the toilet, and the season's too long.
it's true, man, because he was a motivator. He was a guy that, from start to finish. And I don't care, he's got, if we've got 45, 30 guys on defense, 53-man roster. So we got 26, 27 guys on defense. And even though he was a defensive coordinator and he coached the defensive backs, he still worked with the D linemen. He worked with the linebackers. He was teaching. He was telling Tim Crumride, listen, get up. We need you. He was telling Joe Kelly, go out there and knock people out. He wasn't just working with David Fulcher or working with the DBs. He's working with all of us. And then offensively, he always had a something to say to keep James Brooks in it. Let's go, James. Let's go. Let's go, Boomer. Let's go, Chris. Let's do those things. He was a guy that motivated. And John, you've all heard this before. Players coach. He was a players coach.
Oh, he was. He was.
And when you look at LeBeau, I looked at LeBeau like I looked at my dad. My dad didn't have to cuss and chew me out.
Oh, he gave you that look. The serious look, like, you really? Like,
I know.
What are you doing out there? I mean, you're killing me. Yeah.
And that was it. I mean, and we didn't want to disappoint him. So when he looked at us and gave us that word, it was like golden. Hey, listen, he just said, this is what we need to do. And what I liked about him was because I come off the field and he would always ask me, what did you see? There's something different. What are they doing? And I used to go back and say, Coach, that guard is not paying attention to me. The tackle and the guard, when they go out and block, there's a hole right there. And nobody's in that hole.
Right.
He says, the next time we get out there, let's look at it and see what you see. And when I saw it, that's where the zone blitz came in. He said, if you see it, you got to let everybody know you're going. You take off and you go. But when you go, you got to get there.
Right.
And let me tell you, man, to play for a guy that said, hey, John, if you see this and it's going to help us, you do it.
Exactly.
Not, hey, John, I want you to do this. Or David, I want you to do this. And then hopefully, man, he said, if you see something, go get it. And that's the kind of relationship I had with that guy. And let me tell you, just flat out letting me do what I do best. And that's why I think the relationship with the players and coaches today weren't like they were back then.
Right. Because I think it's a matter of respect. And that's just my personal opinion.
Yes.
Because some of these guys, they don't have the credentials to be on that level. Because it's hard, to fault Dick LeBeau when he tells you something. It's like, dude, he's been there. But what I loved about LeBeau too was LeBeau was on the field. He wasn't up in the press box. No. He was downstairs, like on the field. And when you come off, he would talk to you. And I would see, guys he's talking to. And it's like, nah, he would make the adjustments. He would make the adjustment before you sat down.
That's it.
And that's
what I like about it.
Yeah. And that's, as a coach and as a player, I know you love that because now you can get your mind right. It's all about getting your mind right. It's like, for us, the offensive line, we always looking up at the screen, trying to figure out, okay, where'd this guy come from? Okay, I know I had my guy, but where's this other guy coming from? Maybe I can help, somebody here and there. But, I mean, coach he just had it there. And for him to do it on the field, that was, to me, more impressive. I mean, you got a lot of defensive coordinators. They can't do that. They got to be upstairs because they got to see the whole field. I mean, coach can see the whole field because I think he understands what the offense is trying to do.
And for us, it made it very, very simple because he was on the sideline. He saw the sideline. We come off the field. What did you see? What are they showing? Because, you could see that stuff upstairs because you see the whole field. But to be right down in the middle of it, right in the thick of it. So when we come off the field, I don't have to put a headset on and talk to the guy upstairs. I come right to the sideline. He take the headset off and he go, 33, what'd you see? What are they doing? Can we get home on this? They've been killing us on this 3rd and 1. Do we want to drop back in zone? Do we want to bring the blitz? Do we want to do things? And it was always on the go, but not waiting for halftime to make adjustments. We made adjustments every play.
Right.
Every play, because he was in it and he asked us our opinion. And he said, listen, if that's what you want to call this? Yeah, let's call this, coach. But I'm going to take off and blitz. I'm going to make sure that left side linebacker takes my flat. The corner's going to take the deep half, and we're gone. Mm-hmm. And he says, you know what? If you see that, let's go. And when we got into the game, we did it. And when we come to the sideline, I used to always hear him say, good call, 33. Good call. I mean, and for that, man, it's like we have coaches and players on the field at the same time.
Right.
Does that make sense?
And that makes sense because it's one of those things where you got your praise, but it's like, okay, let's just take this a little bit at a time because you got to go back out there and do it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's what made Coach LeBeau so special because, he didn't have to yell and scream to get us to play. All he had to do was say a few words, go in there and get it. And he told me when I was a rookie, he said, if you don't make these plays, you and I are both going to look bad. Mm-hmm. Not just you, not just me, both of us. So I'm putting it in your hand to be my quarterback on defense and make plays. And I'm telling you, man, that's how I felt. That's how I took it. When I missed a tackle, I didn't want to go to the sideline because I had to face him because I had disappointed him.
Right.
But when I made a tackle, I knew when I come to the sideline, he was going to give me that boy 33.
Because he was going to be the first one there. He was going to be the first one there when you got off that field.
First one, man. First one to make you feel good. Not the first one to make you feel bad.
Right.
Because I've had bad games. I've missed tackles. When I come to the sideline, he would always say, tell me this. What did you do wrong? And I would go, I did this. I did that. I looked too much over there. I thought the tackle was going to come out and block me, and I should have just kept running. And he said, okay, now that you know, don't do it again.
Right.
And now let's get to the next play. And that's the kind of person you could play for because he was that kind of leader. Mm-hmm. People who lead, some people don't know how to lead leaders.
Right.
LeBeau was a leader who could lead leaders.
Mm-hmm. So do you have any funny stories about Coach? About him telling a joke or him getting on somebody and he probably had to laugh himself? Because I know you guys had a pretty good secondary with Solomon back there, with E.T.
Phillips, Ray Horton.
Yeah, Ray Horton.
We had a lot of guys that was out there. I don't know funny stories. I don't know, man. John, I'm honest with LeBeau, man. Funny stories. I don't remember too many funny stories. Oh, I do remember that we used to run gassers. Okay. Mm-hmm. Those that don't know gassers, across the field, sideline, the back, we used to go over and back, and the DBs had to run it, in 30 to 33 seconds.
Right.
And remember, David is a 240-pound DB linebacker running with these guys who are 180 pounds. Uh-huh. So when they run across that field, man, they get over and they come back in 26. I'm just touching the other side coming back at 26.
Okay.
And it's going to take about 7 to 8 seconds to get across that thing. So he used to look at me and I would run across. And when I first started in the league, Lewis Breton, one of our corners, Lewis was up in age. So Lewis was, he wasn't that 25. He was that 31, 33 type runner. And he would just barely beat me. And LeBeau used to say to me, he says, let me tell you something, 33. It's okay. When an old man like Lewis can barely get over here at 33 and you barely getting over at 35, I'm going to say it's the linebacker in you trying to run with the DB. And I'm going to tell you, I kept that in my head every time. Every time I ran those gassers, I was trying to beat Lewis Breton. Mm-hmm. How can I get over Lewis Breton? But we had 3 of them to run. The first one, I'm matching stride for stride. But when we get to that second and third, let me tell you.
Monkey came on that
monkey jumped on your back. Yeah, man. That monkey get on your back. And that 33 was in doubt because I didn't think I was going to make it, man. But he told me, he said, listen, if you work your tail off on Sunday, you'll get the reward.
Right.
And that's all I did, man. I worked my tail off hard enough that come Sunday, I get to let it go. And he had a plan for us every Sunday. And I knew I was involved in that plan. Mm-hmm. And that's when I knew I was going to have some fun. So I don't have too many funny stories about him.
No, that's pretty good. But when you came in, how good was Cincinnati? They were pretty good, right?
When I got here in 86, I think our best team was my rookie year team. We finished 10-6. We missed the playoffs by a game. We finished 10-6, and I think the Patriots finished 10-5-1 that year, and they wind up going in as a wild card, and I think wind up going to the Super Bowl. But we had a lot of talent, John. We had a lot of talent on our team, both sides of the ball.
Right.
We had a football team, man, that could just flat out play. And our 86 team was good. And then 87, we had the strike year. And then the 88 year, we wound up going to the Super Bowl. But we had so much talent that I was shocked that we didn't go to 3 or 4 Super Bowls.
Is that right?
Throughout the 80s and the early 90s. Because we had.
I know when I came in 88 and we came to Cincinnati and you guys kicked the crap out of us. And you came up to Pittsburgh and kicked the crap out of us again. I was like, okay, we got to fix this.
Yeah, that team was good. That team was good. That team was good, man. And it's funny because, our rival obviously was Cleveland. We didn't even think about Pittsburgh.
Dude, that's what I keep trying to tell people. Our biggest rival was Cleveland too. Yeah. Because it was, we just like to kill each other. We didn't care who won the game.
That was it.
Crap out of each other. Yeah.
And we felt the same way.
Yeah.
We felt the same way. I mean, we wanted to beat up Cleveland. I mean, Pittsburgh was just another team on the scale that we played twice. And then Houston played twice, but it was like Cleveland. And you look at today's game, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I mean, it's like
it's intense. It's
intense, man. I mean, it's like the love is not lost when it comes to Pittsburgh and Cincinnati today. But back then, man, it was just how do we beat Cleveland? How do we beat up on Cleveland? Because Pittsburgh is just another team that we could practice against to get ready for Cleveland.
Yeah, but that turned on them. That turned on you, though.
Yeah, it did.
It turned on you because when Chuck left, Bill Cowher comes in.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much still Chuck's team, but we had to learn Cowher's way.
Yeah.
And Cowher's way was like, okay, we're not playing each other at practice. You can save this for the game. And that was the biggest thing. And Coach LeBeau came to Pittsburgh. And that coaching staff was just unbelievable. I mean, you got Marvin Lewis on there. You got John Fox. You got who else you got on there? Don Capers.
You guys had it.
They had some. The coaching staff was stacked. I mean,
it was stacked.
You couldn't believe how many young coaches and just coaches that were really coached. They could coach, but they could take direction from the head man, Bill Cowher, and that was the big thing. And we all understood our role.
So think about this, John. That coaching staff you had, and I said it earlier, that the leader leading leaders. Cowher was a leader.
Right.
And he could coach leaders to be better coaches. And see, sometimes people get it mixed up when you're coaching and teaching. There are people who coach, they coach the game. Right. Then there's coaches who teach the game. The person who is being taught how to be a better athlete, be a better coach,
right,
has more success than the guy who tried to coach him. Because coaching is yelling and screaming. Teaching is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
How do I get to 6? Well, you got to start with 1. You can't go 1 to 6. You got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6. And that's why the Pittsburgh Steelers back in that time when Cowher came in and LeBeau came in there, them guys did a lot of teaching and players respected it enough that they're going to follow it. That's why you win championships. And that's why Pittsburgh was where they were back then. No doubt.
Yeah. I mean, we won, I think we won, I know we won I know we had 6 straight playoff appearances, and it was just unheard of. I mean, every year we're in the playoffs, but every year we had a good record.
And that mindset, the mindset of that football team was, and that's why Pittsburgh play the way they play today. The mindset is we're not going to take anything less than the norm. Right. We want to be outside the norm. We don't want to go 8-8. We want to go 12-4. We want to go undefeated. We want to go to the Super Bowl. Right. How do we get there? And when you have that mindset, it doesn't matter who you play.
Mm.
Our Super Bowl year in '88, when we stepped out on the field,
Oh, you guys knew you were gonna kick some butt.
dude, we were like, okay, so who we play next week? Oh, wait a minute. We can't go to next week. We got to play this team. But when we stepped out there, dude, and we wind up losing, I think we lost 4 games that year.
Mm-hmm.
But those 4 games that we lost, we were so upset. Like somebody just robbed the house.
Right.
We were so ticked off that we lost the game that the next team we played was in trouble because we just got embarrassed. You know, we lost the game and we didn't like that. And when you have that mindset, and that was the mindset that LeBeau gave us, that was the mindset that Sam Weiss gave us, that we don't take anything for granted,
Right.
but we have a job to do. We have a plan, and that plan is to go out and beat you week in and week out, not just go through the motion. And that stuff carries over because it carried over when LeBeau left and went to Pittsburgh, and when your coach came in, he had a plan. He had a mindset. I used to watch him on the sideline. That dude he'd have that look, you know, and Tomlin's the same way. They got that look. They got that look. Cowher was like, I'm not taking this. And you know what? Your team, they adopted.
It's a reflection of your coach. It's a reflection of your coach.
They adopted that attitude. And when you adopt that attitude and you play from the heart and not the pocketbook, dude, you're going to win championships.
No, you're absolutely right. So then we're going to do a segment called First Down. This is your first.
Okay.
Do you remember your first day in Cincinnati?
I do. I remember my first day in Cincinnati. And that first day in Cincinnati this is in Los Angeles. This is in LA, you know, and I'm going, are you kidding me? And I'm thinking, wow, this is it's kind of unnormal because I'm expecting helicopters and drive-bys and police cars going off, you know, and I didn't get that. And I'm thinking, wow, my first day in Cincinnati, can I live here? Can I live in this environment? And I'm thinking, well, I'm already doing the necessaries just to keep out of trouble in Los Angeles. I think I could do this. So my first day in Cincinnati was a shock because of the slowness, how slow it was.
It's a slower pace than, you know.
Slower pace in LA. You know, the traffic on the highway was 5 cars instead of 500 cars.
Well, they think it's a traffic jam. Oh, it's a traffic jam. No, that's not a traffic jam.
No,
that's
not
just kind of like a little wait.
That's it. You got a little breezer. I mean, when you're 45 minutes away from home in LA, it takes you 3 hours to get home. That's traffic.
Right.
When you're 45 minutes away from wherever you are live in Cincinnati and you get home in 38 minutes, that ain't traffic. That ain't traffic at all. That was my first. Yeah, that was
your first? Okay. Yep. What about this? Your first game in Riverfront.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, my first game, but I don't think my first game was in Kansas City.
Okay. No, I'm talking about your first game that you played in Riverfront.
Yeah, see, but I don't remember.
Can't remember that?
I don't remember it, man. It's probably sitting there somewhere, but I just don't remember.
No worries. So you remember your first game in Kansas City?
I remember my first game I've ever played when I first played with the Bengals in Kansas City. I remember that one. Well, I remember that wholeheartedly because early in the game, this is why I tell you how LeBeau teaches and don't yell and scream. In college, I used to, do some Superman stuff. Guy come to block me, I'd go underneath real quick, make the tackle. Lineman come out to try to block me, I would make a move, spin, jump over him, make a tackle. So I tried to do that in this game against Kansas City. I went underneath a block from the fullback that I was supposed to contain it, turn it back into my guys. I went underneath, touchdown, 70-yard touchdown run down the sideline. I'm thinking, oh man, I come to that sideline, I'm probably going to get ripped out. And I walked to the sideline, had my head down a little bit, preseason game, put my head up. LeBeau comes up to me and said, hey, 33, listen, I asked you to do one thing. Go in there, turn the ball back inside. You got 10 other guys coming in. If you can't do that, you see this clipboard I'm holding? It's going to be yours for the rest of your career. And he said, you understand it? I said, yeah. He said, now listen, we go back out, we call this, just run it. Run it the way I wanted you to run it, and we're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the teaching moment. That was the teaching moment. I mean,
Right.
I love playing football. I want to play this game as long as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do what the man told me. And that was probably the biggest impact in my career when he told me, and he didn't jump on me. He didn't curse me out. He didn't go back to high school. You know,
Mm-hmm.
high school coaches, how they
Oh
just
God,
yell and scream at you.
they love to yell, don't they?
Oh, yelling is like it's like eating food. They
Yeah.
love to eat. They love to yell at you, and he
It's
didn't
like,
yell
for
at
what? You're not getting anything out of it except putting that kid further and further down in the hole. It's like,
and
dude, give me a
LeBeau
break.
he settled me in and told
Mm-hmm.
me that this is what we're going to do. And from there on, John, I played the game because I loved it. It wasn't about how much money I made or didn't make. You know, I played the game because I loved it, and this guy gave me an opportunity to play it. And that was the first game I can remember. Man, it's been a long time since I played a football game, but the first game, I'm not sure exactly what that first game was in Cincinnati that year.
No, I get that. No, the only reason I remember my first game, no, that was the second. I don't remember the first
See,
game I actually went to, but the the second year I was hurt, and I'll never forget. Cleveland came in and they beat us, and I didn't even dress because I had a bum ankle. And Cleveland came into Pittsburgh and beat us 51-0.
whew,
And I got yelled
ouch.
at in the film because he was
And you
like,
ain't even playing.
he's like, John, get the hell out of the way when fucking players come off the field. And I'm like, what? I was like, I'm not even dressed. I got on a jacket. I got on sweats. And he's like yelling. He goes, no, I just want to make sure you pay attention. I'm like, okay, I got you.
Got you. Get out the way. I'm not
Get out
going
of
to be
the
next to
way.
them players. Yeah.
Yeah, get out of the way. Get out of the way. So Dave, so what did it mean? So you settled, in Cincinnati. So apparently you must have liked it. I mean, me and Solomon always tell people we don't want to tell them the secret in Cincinnati is because we don't want too many people to live here. But you settled in Cincinnati and you do a lot of charity work. I know you do that golf outing. And by the way, when is your golf outing this year? Because I've scheduled the golf outing for Woodward on June 4th. It's on a Friday, not on a Monday.
Good. Because ours is the last Monday in June.
Okay. Good.
So whatever that day is, the last Monday in June, it would be, I'm just kind of going here looking at it, man. It would be June 28th.
Okay.
June 28th, the last Monday in June.
And that's up at Weatherington, right?
At Weatherington, the Putt for Penguin Celebrity Golf Outing. Yes. Newport Aquarium and all those folks.
We'll definitely make sure we put that on the podcast so people can definitely participate in it. And I'll definitely be there. And I know you want to put me with Ed Little. I mean, Ed Grant. I'm sorry, Ed Grant. So
Ed Grant.
I always like playing with Ed.
You and Ed, I mean, Ed always requests, and I'm thinking, come on, Ed, I got to get you to play with some other players. But he's like, no, I want John. But that's the kind of relationship we all have with people in Cincinnati and people, former players and whatnot, is people request because they had fun playing with that guy or whatnot. And it would be nice to get guys to move around with everybody, but people will request or pay a little bit more to the foundation of playing. You can't turn that down. So, but they've always loved you, and dude, you're a pretty good golfer. I've played with you a few rounds of something and watch you swing. Matter of fact, I know I was behind you in one tournament where you told me to turn the music down because I'm like, wait a minute, turn the music down. They ain't got nothing to do with y'all playing. But yeah, you remember that one, right? Hey, Dave, you actually text me, Dave, turn it down when you come to the tee box.
Well, you know what? Because it was a couple guys in the group.
Yeah.
And they were like, John, can you have them turn that music down? I was like, okay, dude, I'll turn the music down. Actually, that was at Dave Parker's golf outing.
Parker's outing. I was right behind you, the team behind you.
And I was like, okay, these guys, they knew Dave, and I was like, you know what? This
is good. I mean, that's a good thing about it, man. I mean,
because believe me, I love music on the golf course. It's everybody's like, don't you want it quiet? I'm like, dude, my best work is done with noise.
With noise, that's it. And I understood it, and I understood it too because I mean, what may be good for me and not be good for somebody else. Because at one time I didn't like the music, but then I started actually playing more relaxed when I hear the music.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I'm thinking, oh, I'll play. So when we come up to the tee box and it's loud, and and some people may not want it, which is understandable. So then when you first did it, I thought you was joking, but then I said, you know what? Let me just cut it down because it might be affecting somebody's game, and it shouldn't. But if it affects somebody's game, you got to cut it down. So yeah, that was.
I mean, the guys we playing with. I mean, I don't know if it affected their game or not. But I don't know.
I know. Yeah, we get out there and we just play.
Just go ahead and play. Go ahead
and probably 90% of the time we're using our drive or our second shot or whatever it is anyway. So, but understandable. I mean, once again, man, we're out having fun. We do a lot of charitable stuff in Ohio, and I made Cincinnati my home. My wife Judy is born and raised from Cincinnati.
Okay,
she's a Silverton girl, and I met her at the end of my career. And my son and my daughter.
Girl. So did she go to Silverton Elementary School?
Silverton Elementary School. I don't know if she went there or not. No, I don't think she did. I know she went to Mount Notre Dame.
Oh, okay.
Her brother went to Moeller.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what. She went to St. Vincent Grade School.
Oh,
not sure where that is, but that's where she went. I can hear her out here on the left over telling me St. Vincent.
No, I went to Silverton Elementary.
You went to Silverton Elementary. Okay.
Yeah, I went to Silverton Elementary.
Yeah, so she's a hometown girl. And when I retired, I really didn't think I was going to retire, that I did. So I went to Kansas City and pulled my quad up really, really bad. And then football was over. But I got my quad back together to the point where I came back to Cincinnati. And worked out for them. And they made me run 40s. They made me do all this work like I was a rookie. I'm like, listen, y'all know all I do is hit people. I don't do nothing else. They got me stuff. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And I think they did that. They brought me in. They brought another safety in. And they had a kid that was already on the team that his contract was up. And they were trying to figure out which one they were going to keep. And I felt like we made him work really hard enough to keep him.
Great.
So they just gave it up. That was it. That was it for me. I was done with that. And, had my daughter, Kayla, right. And I tried to do all that. And she's 25 now. So it was 25 years ago that I worked out for the Bengals. And I decided to stay here in Cincinnati, met my wife. I thought if I played in this city, why not, live here? Maybe I can do some things in it. And fortunate for us, I've done a whole lot since I retired here.
No, you've done a great job. I mean, I got a lot of respect for you, the things you do in Cincinnati. Dave, tell me the worst playoff game you ever had.
Wow, worst playoff game I ever had.
And this is from a fan. They want to know the worst playoff game David Fulcher had.
Wow, worst playoff game I've ever had, David Fulcher. Well. Let's see. I would probably say.
I'll tell you the worst playoff game I had.
The worst playoff game I think I had was we played the Raiders in Los Angeles, and we wind up losing that playoff game to the Raiders. And I think it was the game that Bo Jackson went crazy on us. Had a long run. I think that was the game, and. I missed tackles left and right. As an athlete and as a player, you want to compete. You want to make sure you do what you're supposed to do. And, I lined up on the wrong side. I didn't recognize the formation. When they start putting two tight ends in, which one was the strength tight end, or which one was the guy that was catching the ball. And I would line up on the wrong side and jump to the other side in the middle of the snap, and I was out of place. And and I was just a bad day, one of those days that, and I think it was more of going out to California, and we would always leave on a Saturday instead of leaving on a Friday or a Thursday to get acclimated with the time change. And I don't think I slept good that night. Woke up that next morning tired, got a football game to play, and I just wasn't in the best of frame of mind for that game, and just wasn't the best. And I think we came in as a wild card playing the division leader, and I think that might have been. I'm trying to figure out that wasn't the Raiders. No, it wasn't the Raiders Super Bowl. That was later on, but just not the best that I could be. So it was a bad game for me. And anytime you lose, you say it's a bad game, because I've had, 10, 12, 15 tackles in a game and won, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel good about it. And then I've had 2 or 3 tackles in a game and we won or lost. And it's like, we lost the game. So all that don't mean nothing.
Right, exactly. Because
Yeah.
I know for me, it was we had played the wild card game in Houston. We beat them in overtime. Then we go to Denver, and we couldn't do anything right that next week. It was like we were trying, and then to make things worse, we get to the airport, and they've got to fly apart from New York to Denver, and we had to get off the plane. We had to get off the plane, we go in the bar, and we literally bought every drink in the bar, drunk the bar up. We get back home the next morning. We probably got back there about 7:00 in the morning. And the only thing that really saved us was we had fans waiting at the airport.
Wow.
Which we were like, this is insane.
Wow.
Like wow. So, but it was, we had a bad game, but the Steelers fans were still, loyal to the Steelers.
And you got that. You got that in Pittsburgh, man. They travel.
Oh yeah.
Wherever Pittsburgh's playing, they're there. Mm-hmm. When they play home games here in Cincinnati, I think it's a Steeler game, because there are more black and yellow in that stadium than orange and black.
There are a lot of Steeler fans here, and when I came back, when I used to live here in the off season, and remember we used to live in the same neighborhood with Tim,
yeah.
And I would just go around, and the first question would be out of Bear's mouth was like, "Do you play for the Bengals?" And I go, "No," and that'd be it. That would be totally it. Not like, "Do you play in the NFL? Do you play for the Bengals?"
You play for the Bengals.
So I'm like, "No," and I'm like, "I'm good." And I'll never forget. So I'm out one night, and a guy goes, "You got to play for somebody. Who do you play for?" I said, "I play for the Steelers," and they were like, "Get out of here!" And I'm like, "Dude, that's who I play for." They were like, "Why are you in Cincinnati?" I said, "Because I grew up in Cincinnati, and this is where home is."
Yeah.
So had kids, and I figured, why not raise them in Cincinnati? And we came up north a little bit, because I lived down in the city, and which I will never live back in Cincinnati proper again, because to me it's land of fruits and nuts.
Yes.
And they can't figure out what they want to do anyway. But had an opportunity to move back here, and I love the people here, because they just treat people. They treat me like a person, not like I play football. Which, don't get me wrong. Now sometimes you need that, you need that, but I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's why I stayed here too. Mm-hmm. I stayed here too, man, because well, obviously getting a job, met my wife here. One reason why I stayed, a bigger reason why I stayed, is because I met her. But I just felt that, I could go back to Arizona, go back to Arizona State, beautiful town, always sunny, play golf all year round. Yeah, that's great. But I wasn't a golfer then. But I thought that if I was going to live where I played ball, that opportunities could open doors for me here,
right,
better than it would be back in Los Angeles. And it's just been a ride, man. At 56 years old, I'm I feel like I know I'm blessed. I'm blessed that I got the family that I have, the wife that I have, who put up with me on everything that I've been through and what I've done. My kids are just unbelievable kids, and I'm a grandfather now too.
Good for you.
Two little girls. I got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. My son David. Obviously, my son David was in the Air Force.
Right. So you are no good when those granddaughters are around, huh?
Oh yeah. Let me tell you, man. I tell my kids. I say, listen. What you guys did when you were younger, watch. They're gonna do it to you. And my son comes to me every blue moon. Dad, you were right. Dad, you were right. And my daughter, she doesn't have kids, but she's got a couple of cats that are her kids, and she goes, Dad, these cats are bad. I said, well, that's what happens when you're a parent of something. When you're a
Exactly.
parent of something, it's going to come back out to you. So, but yeah, John, I love Cincinnati, and what I like about Cincinnati too is I'm not treated. People will say, "Hey, that's David Fulcher played for the Bengals," but you know that was so long ago. I'm just David
Exactly.
Fulcher that does the things today,
Mm-hmm.
and people respect that, and which is cool, really, really cool.
Right. So hold on real quick, Dave. I got to do a shout out to Bell's House of Tobacco. Hey, if you want a great cigar, go to Bell's House Tobacco, and on the screen, it's all information for Bell's. Today, I smoked a really good Ashton that John gave me yesterday, and I started on it. But after this podcast, I'm going to finish it. It was called a Symmetry, and it was a great smoke. And those are the kind of cigars you get at Bell's House of Tobacco. And make sure you ask for John. And please tell them you saw us on this podcast or you heard it on Anchor, Spotify, or Apple. So go to Bell's House of Tobacco. Appreciate it. Yeah, I had to do a shout out for my boy. He's always hooking me up with some good cigars. So I'll be going. I'm going there after this. After I get done here,
I tell you
I'm
what,
going there.
man, that's probably the one thing that I have never taken up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been given so many cigars and golf outings and other things that we do.
All right.
I couldn't do it. I mean, and I've played golf with people. I think I may have ridden around a cart with you, and you had a cigar, and you said, "Hey, Dave, is this going to bother you?" I said, "No, I'll be all right as long as you don't blow it in my face. I'm good." But I couldn't wait to get out of that cart so I can go over there and catch some fresh air. Because I just could not get into it. Former teammate, not mine, but played with the Bengals, Isaac Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac loves cigars. Every time I got a cigar from an outing, I would put it in my bag because when I saw Isaac, I'd give him to him.
But it calms me down. You know how
I've heard that
when you're like, it's like you're in a game and everything slows down.
Yeah,
and that to me, smoking a cigar just slows everything down.
Yeah.
And to the point where I can be a little precise here. And all I want to do is if I miss a shot, get a little toke on that cigar, and I'm like, everything's going to be all right.
Yeah. You know what? And John, as athletes, we all try to have some kind of way to have that edge.
Mm-hmm.
And if smoking a cigar relaxes you to give you that edge, you know what, brother, you keep doing it. I myself personally, I think for me, I think the music, when I have that music on that cart, and I'll play all my old school music. I'm not playing any upbeat music. I'm trying to slow down the process. I call myself when I'm in a Cadillac, or that when you Cadillac, you're like cruising. Mm-hmm. When I'm playing golf, I listen to that music, and that swing just gives me that relax. Right. Even though every now and then I hit a good shot, but when I don't hit a good shot, the frustration comes out. But then I have to go back to listen to the music and what got me there. So understand.
Right. And I like the music and the cigar. And I just like being around good people, especially on the golf course. Just telling some good stories, nothing crazy, just some good stories and getting to know people. And I've gotten to know a lot of people throughout Cincinnati on the golf course.
Yeah. So a lot of business is made on the golf course. You don't want to talk business on the golf course, but a lot of camaraderie, a lot of conversation comes up. People that, we know now in our lives that we played in a tournament many, many years ago that remember what we've done or what we've said. Can you come out and speak? Can you come to this? Here's a donation to your foundation.
Right.
And some of these people, I don't remember that guy. Oh yeah, I played in Dave Parker's tournament 8 years ago and I played with you and I really like what you said and what you did. Here's a donation to this. Here, can you come speak here? Mm-hmm. It's just humbling to be recognized outside of football.
Right.
Not just a football player. And we're big guys. So for the person. Yeah. And we're big. Not too many big guys are out there that are just big guys. They had to do something. Mm-hmm. And when people hear that what we've done and hear our name, they go, wow, you know what? I remember you. Man, you were awesome. Thank you for what you did. Hey, have a good day. Mm-hmm. And you know what? We're moving.
Right.
And that's it.
Right. Hey, I want to know your opinion on the playoff game with the Steelers and the Browns. To me, it was one of those things where the Steelers couldn't run the ball, and you become one-dimensional in anything, and especially in the playoffs. I mean, you can't win. You can't win without running the ball in the playoffs.
No, you can't. And I think when I watched that game, I saw a Pittsburgh team that was trying to survive, struggling, both sides of the ball. Not a typical football game that the Pittsburgh Steelers play.
Right.
See a lot of doubt in players' eyes. Even when they show the sideline. Mike Tomlin doesn't really show a whole lot of emotion, and obviously with the mask on. But when you watch Mike Tomlin's eyes, his eyes look like, ooh, it's going to be a long night. I'm defeated. Don't want to say it, but I'm defeated. And you could just feel that. And you said it. When you have to throw the football, and Ben Roethlisberger is obviously getting up in age, but, when you're throwing the football, 40 to 50 times at his age, that's not good. I mean, we did it in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, the first game I think they played in Pittsburgh, where he threw the ball 50-something times. You can't, if you rely on that, and you're telling me on defense is that's what you're going to do 90% of the time, well, guess what? I've got like 5 perfect defenses that's going to stop the pass.
Exactly.
You have to worry about the run because you're not going to run the ball. And when you get to that one dimension, like you said, and I saw that in that Browns game, they gave the Browns life. We've always been told, when you step on the throat, don't take your foot off the throat, keep it down until the game is over. And Pittsburgh never did that to Cleveland. And Cleveland said, if you're going to allow me to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, and plus the turnovers too. I mean, the Steelers turned the ball over, and you just can't turn the ball over that many times, especially that first turnover, which for a touchdown, it goes in the end zone. That's not good. And then Ben had a couple more picks. But, like we were saying, once you become one-dimensional, they know what you're going to do. So they can figure that out. And guys, just stand there. And a couple things went off a couple guys' hands. But guess what? At the end of the day, they don't ask did it come off his hands. They asked who did it go to?
Who threw it?
And who caught it, right?
Yeah.
And who caught it? They don't ask when you're deflection.
And then when you're down, John, the points that they were down, what does it make you have to do? Make you throw the ball because you're trying to get back to the game quick.
Right, trying to play catch up.
So trying to play catch up. And once again, I'm not sure that most of the teams in the league, I don't know if being down 28 points to the Cleveland Browns, when you look at it and you go, oh, that's the Browns. The Browns are going to do something. We can get back in the game. But being down 28 points and asking a high-powered offense like Pittsburgh, who have scored points, they didn't get 11-0 for nothing. But they started going downhill because when they got behind, they were asking Ben to try to get us back. And then all those plays that were not making, that he wasn't making. Right. Then they find themselves struggling, and now they find themselves bad. And then when they lost to, I didn't think that Pittsburgh would give up that many points to the Browns. But I did think that the momentum going into the game before to get into the playoffs carried over. You didn't play your players because you're trying to save them. I thought that the Cleveland Browns would beat them, but I didn't think it was going to be as lopsided as it was.
No, I didn't either. Hey, Dave, we want to make sure that we promote your golf tournament. So give me those dates again. And how can they join you on that day for the golf outing? Because
once again,
I'll be there.
Yeah. But once again, the tournament is the last Monday in June, June 28th at Wetherington Country Club over in Westchester. And how you can really get involved with the golf tournament is to get on the Newport and Aquarium website and look for Putt for Penguins in their events category. And you can register right there online to get into it. The one thing I like about this golf tournament, man, is, getting a bunch of former players involved. Everybody loves playing golf. A lot of guys, golfers, former football players, and it gives us an opportunity to play in the golf tournament. But what it also does, though, is it helps with conservation with the animals throughout communities and high schools and elementary schools, and just getting those kids involved in the animals. We bring out penguins to the golf course. We'll bring out a stingray or something to the form of, we'll bring out a snake. They bring it out there. So we get an opportunity to do a lot of stuff. And I got involved with them 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago, as just a golfer in one of the tournaments. And I felt that they could probably raise a little bit more money if they brought in celebrities. So that's how the David Fulcher Pupper Penguins came about. That I just thought that there are so many golf tournaments around. Everybody that has a golf tournament has a list of players.
Right.
I have the same list. So basically, when Joe Walter sends out an invitation to play in a golf tournament, or Anthony Munoz sends out a tournament, or Jim Breach sends out something, I'm sending out the same thing to the same guys. So we get a majority of the guys that are local to participate in the tournament. And what I also like about it too is that everybody that plays in the tournament, everybody will get an opportunity to go to the Newport Aquarium on a pass. We'll give a pass to them, a pass for 4 to go out to the tournament. So it is a great opportunity to play in our golf tournament. Great golf course. I couldn't ask for any better golf course than we had. And we played at some other golf courses prior to this one, having it at Wethington. So, I know for sure that you and Ed from All Good are definitely going to be on the team together again. Because you didn't play last year because you had the Woodward tournament going on and we missed you.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely have you back out there again, man. And it's scheduled. We're going to do it. We tried to do it this year, but it was right in the thick of COVID.
Yeah.
And so we postponed it as long as we could, and it was tough, but we're definitely back on track with this year's tournament.
Well, you definitely count me in, and I know Ed's going to be calling me up pretty soon. So he calls me up on a couple tournaments. It's like, John, I need you. I'm like, okay, let's go play.
Well, that's how it is, man. I mean, think about this. Ed calls you because, one, he knows you, which he used to do, but he calls you, man, because he knows you're a true blue person. It's not football. We just want to play golf, smoke a cigar, have some fun, and we go from there. Because I remember playing in a tournament with Ed. This is how much I love Ed. Playing a tournament, and after the tournament was over, he said, "You hungry?" And I'm thinking, "Hungry? What are we gonna do now?" He said, "You like sushi?" I said, "Oh, love it." So me, Ed, and I think 2 of his friends, we met at a sushi restaurant here in Mason. And we just went out there, man, and we probably ate a couple $100 worth of sushi, conversation. And that's what it's about. I mean, It's not about anything else. It's just about building relationships with good people here in Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Hey, do you remember, did I give you these? Did you try my bars? I thought I sent that to you in the mail.
Call me about the protein bars?
Yeah. And we don't really call them a protein bar. We kind of say it because of the protein, but yeah, it's a lifestyle performance enhancement bar. And I'll drop a couple more to you, man, and tell me what you think. I mean, like I said, it's a business that was started probably about 3 months ago. Peter Jennings, former football player for the Giants and the Jets, when he retired from football, his last football game check was with the Orlando Predators. He got into network marketing, and the guy's made over $40 million in the years that he's been in network marketing. And they put together this bar. They wanted to, playing pickleball out in Florida. And you know a little bit about pickleball? Have you heard about it?
Tim McGee plays pickleball.
Yeah. So he played pickleball, and he was always getting tired. Him and his wife getting tired. He tried to figure out what, eating a protein bar, drinking a Monster drink. So he put together this bar, and the bar has 4 of the ingredients in it that would give people, the clarity, certain things, anti-aging.
Right.
Carbolin is the new era of carbohydrates. Carbolin is powered by Carbolin. Jeff Galini, a scientist who put together, who was a founder of pharmaceutical, what is it? All American Pharmaceutical. And he has like 160 some employees. They started in 1985. And he put together this bar, man, and didn't know what to do with it. We took the bar, put the other 4 ingredients in the bar, and dude, the bar it's just been going crazy. So many people have got involved in this process that we started with 7 people, and now we're over 550 of them that are in the business.
Really?
And it's just passing out the ball. I talked to Damani Dawson. I talked to some other guy. Damani's he's into the CBD company.
Yeah, he's big time in that.
Yeah, he didn't want to venture out, but he said if he wasn't involved, he'd definitely get involved with this bar. because the bar is I just passed the bar out, John. People like the bar. I get paid for passing out the bar.
Right. And you got a website, or do you have, you got to get in contact with you?
I have a website that people can contact and go directly to the bar. And I can send that to you to take a look at it. And like I said, man, some people use it as a meal replacement because it is a meal replacement, 250 calories. People are eating 2 or 3 of them, dropping a lot of weight. And then the kids are eating them, man, because kids go to school in the morning and they probably eat a little bit of here, a little bit of there. And their kids are eating the bar in the morning, and their schoolwork and their clarity. I mean, anti-aging, the nicks, the bumps and the cracks in my knees. There's a lot of stuff inside this bar that people are buying outside, spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth. And this bar, one bar, $4. A box of bar, 15 bars, $60. And I got my parents. I got my parents, my mom and dad are both 80. I have them eat a half a bar a day. And just for their age and the bumps and bruises that they've got just because they're old. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I wish I had this bar, John, when we were playing.
Right.
Just because the energy, the Monster drink does this.
I know.
We take this bar, your gas tank sits up here, and it stays there. I mean, I'm talking 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I'll try it.
I'm telling you,
definitely
dude,
try it out.
It's and like I told people, I said, if you're busy, if you got a busy plate, if you go to work and you got stuff going on, maybe this may not be the business opportunity. I look at this as residual income that comes in every Thursday. But if you're a person that likes it and you feel good by taking the bar, then become a customer. Buy the bars, $60 a bar. You got 15 of them. And you can eat half a bar a day, or you can eat, because we're big guys. So we're looking at probably eating maybe 2 bars a day.
Right.
But, some people, Peter eats 3 bars a day, plays pickleball all day. Get on a Zoom call talking about what's going on. But I'm going to tell you, man, I've never been a network marketing guy. Didn't want to get in it. My wife has been in network marketing. The young lady that told us about it, we trusted her enough to say, okay. But when it said peanut butter and chocolate chip, and now we got a coffee that comes out, everybody drinks coffee. But the coffee that people drink today has no nutrients in it. Ours do. Everything that's in our bar is in the coffee. And we're coming out with a cookies and cream in another month or so. So trust me, this is I'm going to put some in the mail to you, man. If I don't, wait, you know what? Wait a minute. So tomorrow, I actually got to go work at the jail in Butler County. I got to come back up 129. Give me an address. I'm going to shoot by it and put it in the mailbox on my way home.
Okay, that works.
All right,
that
brother.
works. I appreciate it. And I want to thank you for doing the podcast. And hey, definitely, check out that website. And if you want to play in the golf outing, please play in it, because you'll see me. I'll be there with Ed.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I thank you so much.
Thank you,
we
brother.
want to thank everybody. We want to thank David Fulcher for doing the podcast today. We also want to make sure that you subscribe to our podcast. Hit that subscription button, but also hit that like button. And don't forget, if you've got comments and questions, go to the offlinepodcast.com/contact. So today was number 22 episode, and we're just going to keep going with this. I'm having a great time doing this. I already knew Dave, but now I know Dave a little bit better. So I want to thank everybody, and everybody out there, be safe. Thanks.